All right, welcome. This is the WT editorial board interview with Chris Camargo. Chris is a candidate for Cheyenne City Council in Ward 1. Welcome, Chris. Thanks for being here and agreeing to interview with us.
Thanks for having me.
For those watching at home, I'm Brian Martin. I'm the managing editor of the Wyoming Tribune Eagle, and I'm here with a member of our board, from our community rep.
Bob Feck with the Cheyenne Animal Shelter as a community rep.
Thank you. So Chris, thanks again for being here. I want to start by asking you what specific issues or concerns got you into the race in Ward 1 this year?
One of my big specific concerns is the roads around town. And just a lot of the upkeep on buildings, parks, bringing in new businesses to the community, trying to make Ward 1 basically just trying to beautify it.
So Chris, we have a citizen legislature, we have a citizen city council, but are there some specific qualifications that you think you have that would help the voters vote for you?
Yes, I do. Pertaining to our roads, the patchwork. I am an asphalt engineer. I do not lay the asphalt. My background is more along the lines of making the oil, making the emulsion. And so I feel I have an advantage. I know more what products we should be looking for, what companies we need to be looking at to make some, and basically get a better product on our road so that way it lasts longer. The potholes that we fill last longer.
So have you had a chance to look at what the city of Cheyenne is doing right now, and do you already have some ideas for what should be different?
Yes. Basically, a lot of the like when filling potholes, there is a completely different product that we could be using, but and that would last longer, and it would benefit the community a lot more. And basically what I see is that right now is that the city is just they like to take the lowest bid, just to get by, and I feel we need to look more, trying to take the middle bid, just kind of changing it up a little bit.
So, Brian, I'm going to follow up on this a little bit, kind of skip ahead. So, I think the number I saw right now is that the city spends about $4 million a year on roads, and Vicki Niemiec, I believe, has said that the number needs to be almost $7 million. Have you looked at those numbers at all? What do you think overall the city should be doing different?
I agree. I have looked at the numbers. I agree it needs to be much higher than 4 million. I believe that the number that we're trying to hit with the roads right now is the bottom number, and we're not trying to, and we keep hitting the bottom number, we're going to keep trying to chase our roads, and nothing's going to benefit out of it. And it really shows this year. I mean, the roads are horrible.
Thank you.
Chris, have you looked at the city budget enough to know where you might get that extra money, or do you have any ideas for where those extra funds might come from?
To be honest, no, I haven't. I haven't got that far yet.
But it definitely would be a priority for you.
Yep.
Okay. So if you can tell us what you believe is the biggest challenge facing the city, and it might be the roads again, but beyond that, what other major challenges do you see that the city of Cheyenne faces right now?
One of the major challenges I see it faces is just bringing in new business into the community. Trying to market Cheyenne, not just relying on word of mouth. We need to get out there and market Cheyenne more, try bring better businesses to Cheyenne, especially to Ward 1, because there's a lot of real estate out in Ward One that would be perfect business real estate. Um, you know, we need, the council needs more doers and less talkers.
Do you have specific areas in mind in Ward One that you think should be developed, and what kind of businesses are you looking at?
I would like to see an event center going in Ward One, primarily because I think uh, we have a lot. I mean, Cheyenne has a lot of potential. I mean, we could be bringing rodeos here once a month. Music acts here year round, and not just 1 week out of the whole entire year.
Would that be a city-funded event center, or would you try to bring in a private entity to build and develop that?
I think it probably a private, and that goes that goes out there with going out there and marketing Cheyenne. Saying, trying to find someone to come and build here.
Right.
Chris, so assume you're elected
Mhm.
and you take care of the roads, that's done. So what else what else do you think would be next? What is your vision for the city of Cheyenne with the event center or whatever else?
Next for me I would like to start up what's the word I'm looking for? Like a park fund, because I think there's a lot of, especially in Ward Ones, there's a lot of parks out there that have just been forgotten about, and no one pays any attention to them. There's no upkeep on them. I mean, there's Martin Luther King Park, Optimist Park, Lincoln Park. I think we need to start beautifying these parks, so that way we could make them better for the community, so that way they could, stay inside the community and don't have to go to the north side, Myler Park or something, find a better park. They could just go right down the street and go to their local park.
Since you mentioned Martin Luther King Park first, what would you like to add to that park?
Better playground. I'd like to see the baseball field out there renovated.
Do you think that's an intentional thing on the city's part to focus on certain parks in town, or do you think it's just too much parkland for the city to maintain? What do you think's happening?
I think it's just, I just think that they can't keep up with all the parks that we have, and the fact that I think they're just trying to focus on just the main parks like Holiday Park and Lions Park, and they're kind of forgetting about all these other parks that we do have.
Can you expand on your other visions or vision for Cheyenne, and specifically, what do you think Cheyenne is lacking that you as a council member could help us bring in here?
What I think Cheyenne is lacking is we are relying solely on one event to bring in tourists, bring in different states, bringing in and bringing the community together. That is one big thing that we are lacking, is trying to find different events year round that we could bring in for tourists. One of my other main concerns is I would like to see that there's a lot of vacant buildings in Ward 1. I would like to see the owners of those buildings starting to get penalized over time. There's nothing being done to rent them out, nothing being done to renovate them. They're just kind of just sitting there. And I feel that they need to be penalized for that.
So hypothetically, I own a building and I'm just letting it sit there. You would try to enact legislation to, in some way, penalize me for not doing anything with the property.
I mean, if it's, oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to make sure I understand and that people watching understand.
I agree. I just feel that, I mean, if you're not doing anything to try and rent it out, trying to beautify, you know, the property or anything, or going out there and, you know, trying to market your building. And if it's a building that's, I mean, just prime real estate, there's all kinds of other businesses around it, and it's very vital. It's a very vital building to the community, then yes.
Chris, what are your other priorities for economic development? You mentioned bringing businesses in. Are there particular types of industries or things that you would like to see? What do you think would spur economic development in Cheyenne?
I think a big economic would be off of the highway, off of I-85 to South Greeley Highway. I mean, there's a lot of prime real estate out there for restaurants. I mean, I think that's a big way we could boost our economy by bringing in more restaurants for people to come off the highway. I mean, they're not looking, you know, they're just going to pass. They just pass Cheyenne right now because there's really nothing coming off the highway. And I feel we need to have more, not just food vendors, but other businesses coming off of the highway.
Chris, for several years, there's been complaints from the building community about how difficult it is to get new development, commercial or any real estate development accomplished because of planning and development in Cheyenne. Do you have any thoughts about that process?
I would have to agree on that big time, because the planning and the development in Cheyenne is very poor, and that's another thing that we need to pick up on, that we need to do better with, because there has been a lot of businesses that have wanted to come to Cheyenne, but it never happens.
Do you have some firsthand knowledge or experience there? Somebody you know that was trying to do something that had a hard time getting it done? I mean, you kind of sounded.
A while back, I believe the Budweiser was supposed to come here, but the council voted against it. And, you know, that, I mean, past is past, and you really can't look at the past, but I mean, if you look at if that was here, I mean, look how much tourists we would have, look how much revenue Cheyenne would get, you know. And I just think, you know, a lot of Cheyenne is afraid to change right now with the people that are in there right now. There's a lot of fear of change, but you know, change isn't bad. We need change. A lot of change is good.
How would you go about making that change happen, or putting it so that it could happen?
You know, I would definitely go far and beyond. I mean, there's all kinds of conventions, venues out there where you can go out and market Cheyenne, and I would definitely be going out there on my free time, whenever, going out, trying to market Cheyenne, trying to bring new businesses, bringing those new businesses to the council. I would definitely make my name known out there, make Cheyenne known.
Chris, can you talk just a little bit about downtown and what you see as the future of downtown, including whether you support the downtown core project that the DDA and the city are pushing, as well as the West Edge efforts? What do you think? What do you envision for the future of downtown?
The future of downtown, I believe, is very promising. I feel that in the past, I want to say year and a half, that it's really improved. I know about 3-4 years ago, I couldn't tell you that because downtown was looking really run down. I feel that they're really trying hard to beautify it with all the murals and everything like that, and I love that. You know, I feel it's promising, everything that they're bringing to the depot, all the new the food truck, carnival, all that stuff. You know, I think they keep doing things like that. Also, one of the things I think they need to start doing is going and remodeling some of these historic buildings. I mean, a lot of businesses, you know, they don't want to rent out of there because they are getting old and run down. I'm sure there's a lot of them that are filled with asbestos, and I feel we need to renovate a lot of the buildings in the downtown area, and we can still keep the historic value. I mean,
Kind of coming off of that, would that be a city effort? Would it be city funds you would use, or you would just again try to get private developers to do those?
that I believe would be city funds.
And then speaking of using taxpayer money, how do you feel about using government funds, taxpayer money for amenities in Cheyenne, such as the Children's Museum? It's been proposed for downtown, or other amenities for the city.
I think it's a great idea. I feel when they first proposed the Children's Museum, that I thought it was a great idea because Cheyenne is definitely becoming a younger community, and that is perfect for the youth of Ward 1. And yet again, that's teeing off of the planning and development. I mean, we're still not close to building that because of planning and development, which is where we're lacking.
Well, along with the Children's Museum, there are general fund dollars and also special tax rate dollars that go to the United Way and for distribution to a number of nonprofits in the community. Do you think that public money should be used for those nonprofits?
Yes, I do. I feel that one of the big nonprofit organizations that doesn't get enough recognition is places like the YMCA. You know, everyone uses them for flag football, t-ball, and you know, the building itself is getting pretty run down. I mean, you go in there and you could actually see trees growing out of the concrete into like the weight room and stuff. And I was in there the other day and I noticed, I was like, is that a tree coming in? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
One of the assets the city has is the Belvoir Ranch, and there are a variety of reasons why the city bought it, but there's been a push lately to make it a recreation area, to open it up to recreational access. How do you feel about that, and where does that fit in maybe your priority list in terms of how soon the city should do that?
I feel that would be good to open up recreationally. I feel the city could see a lot out of it, but as far as the to-do list on it, I think that, I don't think it should be a major priority on the to-do list. I think there's a lot of priorities that the city of Cheyenne needs to do.
And leads right into the next question, which is about budget spending priorities and savings priorities as well. If you're sitting as one of the 9 members of the city council, how would you prioritize what the city spends its money on and how much the city saves?
I would definitely prioritize it on focusing on the community that we have right now, focusing it mainly on the roads. That's one area we need to stop saving money on. I mean, we need to start better serving the community and fix these roads. I mean, especially in the south side district. I mean, I feel that area has been forgotten about. I mean, and we keep leaving the roads the way they are. No one's going to be wanting to drive down those roads. We got to start accommodating the people, not only the people, but the tourists that come in, because they don't want to be driving their cars on crappy roads. A lot of the areas I feel we need to save money in is I think we need to
I think my question overall is how much money should be saved? I know the city has some reserves and some parameters for how much should be in reserves. Do you think this is a time to be saving more money, or do we need to be spending?
Right now, I think it's a time that we need to be spending more money, to be honest. Because Cheyenne is growing, we have all kinds of people in Cheyenne, and we need to start spending money to support that demographic. We need to start pleasing all the people and not just one. So
Last night, the city council approved taking $312,000 out of their bank account and supplementing the budget to give city employees a 2.5% pay raise. What do you think of that?
I do agree with that to a certain extent. I mean, there is a lot of entry-level positions out there where, someone has went to school their entire life to get in that position, and say someone else gets into a different entry-level position and they're getting paid the same. And I feel that right there, I mean, that's where I think we need to take a look at it. I mean, there are just hundreds of entry-level positions out there. I mean, there could be someone, say, working the stand at the Kirk Gowdy, and someone else working actually at, the Board of Public Utilities or something, and they're getting paid the same. That's something that I really don't agree with.
Chris, if you could talk about the 6th penny sales tax. Obviously, that's the tax for specific purpose, and we're going to look to renew that again here probably early next year. What would be your priorities for lists of projects or how to spend that money?
I think the 6th penny tax, one of the things that actually brought me into running was hearing about the 6 penny tax that was going to be coming up, and that actually gave me the idea for the park fund. That gave me the idea for the roads. I think that we need to use that 6 penny tax for the roads, first of all, for our parks. We need to use it for sending, city employees out there, to go out to all these different conventions, so that way we could start marketing Cheyenne. We need to use that money to also, to help the DDA with funds, beautifying the downtown district.
And the city has talked at different times about an anti-discrimination ordinance. Where do you fall on that issue? Do you think the city needs to pass that?
Yes, I do, because I feel, with the growing community, growing demographic, there does not need to be any discrimination in Cheyenne. Cheyenne is an awesome community. And there doesn't need to be any discrimination at all to anyone.
We have 2 or 3 more minutes. Do you have any other follow-ups, Bob? Yeah, other issues, Chris, that you'd like to share with us and share with those watching?
One of my bigger issues, I think that the community really feels, and that I think, if elected in, if not, I think the city needs to change, especially on the city council part, is they need to go out and start meeting the people. No one knows who they are. No one knows what they stand for. They need to start going out into the community and, actually hearing firsthand what's going on. Getting everyone's input as to, what do you guys think we could fix in the Cheyenne community, and not just going by how you think it should be. They need to start going out and just being there for the people.
People aren't coming to city council. City council needs to come to them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else you'd like to say?
Nope, that's it.
Well, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate you coming in and visiting with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks.